the factors contributing to our lack of, traction in fighting this. I would put politics and the political element of national power right at the center of it and at the very top.
Okay, and we come to that.
That's cost about 54%.
And we come to that. But before we even get to come to that, Pete, you have been on the ground for the longest of time, and you talk about crime CPOA. You say it becomes very easy for you to address this if you're going to highlight the root causes, highlight the concerns that actually get these young ones to involve in such heinous activities. And Steve Ogutu is watching, and I like some of the questions that he sends to us, because then they speak to the many that I had, and I think I'll ask them. He says, ask your guest, cases of juvenile gangs attacking Kenyans daytime with machetes have become commonplace in areas like Mombasa. What are the push and pull factors to these kinds of emboldened criminal activity, despite police actions, which he acknowledges at least there is police action to a certain level? And what else is left to be done to address the concerns, noting actions already undertaken by security actors? First of all, why do they keep cropping up? Why are they still happening? And from what point do they happen? And why is it that despite all this action that we put, security action, we still are not getting anywhere?
Now, just as you rightfully mentioned, crime CPOA is a catalyst on crime prevention, legal empowerment, and social justice. We believe social justice economic factors that Byron is addressing basically go to address, either the cause or effect of crime. But the criminal gangs, it's such a wide space now. When you talk about criminal gangs, are we just addressing the machete issues? I'll come to that. Has it also mutated to tech, as Byron is saying, where we can use tech as a gang to raise resources to fund other criminal activities? Are we using tech, for example, for porn, the porn rings, where young people are being forced to commit sexual acts that are then sold to the dark web?
Right.
So the criminal gangs now, it's not just about the machete wielding gangs you see there. You talk about Mombasa, for example, and I'll tell you one thing for free. The regional commander for police who's been taken to Mombasa, Ali Nuno, he's someone I've seen work in Thika. And Kiandutu slums was one of the worst slums in this country, crime-wise. You didn't dare go there during the daytime. And in Kiandutu, the community and the police decided to work together. The community even would give the police border borders. So they would go and, they had the reporting mechanisms, anonymous reporting mechanisms that would not expose the people who made the reports. And you can go to Kiandutu today and walk. But even though Kiandutu has gotten quieter now, and there's less criminal activity because of the direct involvement, the leadership also counts on who's leading the fight against these crimes. We had worse criminal gangs in Kisumu. Then there was a cop called Wanyama, I think he retired or something. And he just decided he had to get to the root of it. Now, you go to Mombasa, there's the issue of drugs. Who's selling these drugs? Those kids can't afford these drugs. Can't we address that factor of where they're getting these drugs? I was in Isiolo the other day, and one of the security people said, Isiolo is the center of Kenya. You guys might think you are on the other side, but everything comes in through Isiolo. Right now, we are seeing the highest arrests of heroin and cannabis and all drugs in the Isiolo Circle, Moyale, Marsabit corridor. Things that we assumed were coming from other areas. So I think one thing that Byron alluded to, which I want to go to the root of, from all our research and from all we've seen in what we do as crime CPOA, politics is at the center of all these criminal gangs, whether they're youth gangs, whether they're the gangs, because there are people who ultimately want to use them. And they don't want to be directly culpable. So they maintain that network to feed onto their political shenanigans.
And I'm curious, what are these shenanigans? To gain what, ultimately? Because now, you see, politics is about leadership.
The other day I'll tell you, there was something that happened in Mathare. Mathare, some parts of Mathare were literally closed down. You couldn't go there. Why? Because there were elections going on. And the aura that had been created was that the whole of Mathare was violent. But there are just a few young people who had gone somewhere and been told, do X, Y, Z. I think our politicians need to know that it's sickening to continue using young people for their political ends. These people, when they're arrested, they're individually culpable. And when they go to prison, the politicians don't come to bail them out. What we are telling them, guys, at the end of the day, you will be alone. These guys will not come and save you.